friends, welcome back to the PLA Backstage Pass podcast. I'm here with Erin today, and that's exciting on many levels because we've been friends for a long time, but also because you are our global compliance and product development specialist on staff right now. And right now, I mean, like it's like sort of a new thing. And you like just landed in Reno officially.
Yeah, I literally just moved to Reno like 3 days ago.
So that's wild. You moved to Reno just in time for the biggest launch of the year probably. And that's super exciting. And as most people know, but may not know, I suppose, as we know, innovation is like absolutely at the core of PLA. And if you hear Michelle talk to anybody about it, she wants to see that same kind of innovation coming from everywhere in the industry and not have us be the only ones like pioneering it, because moving an industry forward is important no matter how it's moved forward, right?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of thought and strategy and development and trial and error in these new Limitless Lashes that we just launched. And you and I got to work together on it. And so we kind of wanted to pull back that curtain for you guys and help you see the thought processes that went into creating something that everybody who has gotten their hands on is raving about this product. Can I say that it's just been like so well developed and so well thought out that it really is revolutionary in the industry. And so we want to share with you guys what those things are that make it different, but at the same time we want to show you what the thought process went into it, so that, I don't know, maybe product development, maybe innovation, maybe invention is like something you're really passionate about or want to learn more about. And so we're here for that today. So thanks for being here for that today.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about it actually, because it was a lot of heart went into this project. And the first thing that I want to like mention about it is that there's a lot of marketing verbiage that happens in our industry.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I think that it's really important to pull back the curtain on the thought processes and the processes that happened to make this project happen, so that you really know as a consumer and as an artist working with this product that you're not being fed a marketing line. Like you really understand the logistics and the thought that went into this and how different it truly is from any other product on the market, and really how revolutionizing it is.
Right. And that's interesting that you say that, because as we both still work in social media, but like it's a lot of what I do. You and I have recently talked about like starting a series that is marketing versus fact, because it's so important that people are able to determine, okay, this is marketing terminology and it might not mean anything. Yeah. And this is reality and it actually does mean something. And being able to be aware of those things and start to point them out for yourself is really, really important. I watched a video on social media the other day, and it was about someone who he takes things and remarkets them. And so he's like, okay, we're going to take gummy worms and we are going to put them in a different jar and we are going to sell them as electrolyte supplements. And so he had all of these different like seals and phrases and things on this package that literally is okay to say because of marketing, because it's all unsubstantiated and you know, you can say whatever you want about something. None of them were actually facts. They were just words that sounded cool and actually did describe the fact that like gummy worms have sugar in them and they have salt in them. And so they do provide some electrolytes and they do provide some energy. And it was wild to see what marketing can do. And I love that we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So let's talk about it.
Okay, cool. So you came into the project after I had sat down in Michelle's office before you were even with PLA.
Yeah.
I sat down in Michelle's office and I was like, you know what would be awesome? We should create an all blackout luxury line, like matte black tweezers and super black lashes with like black packaging, and make it just like sleek and different and new. And she said yes. And that made me really nervous. Like even thinking about it now, I'm a little like, whew, I'm a little sweaty because I was like, oh no, like, wait, we're actually going to do this. And so I set about telling her all of the things that I wanted out of fine diameter lashes to work with them in a way that's like fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then you came in after we had started the very beginning of that product development, and your brain took it and ran with it.
Yeah. I love it. I've always kind of been that way though, where I look for things on how to make it better and things that are kind of missing about the product. And it's funny that we're talking about kind of consumer psychology is kind of what we're talking about with perceived value and with the electrolytes and the gummy worms conversation. And for me, that's kind of how I notice that my psychology and my behavior as a consumer is that for me to create a value and for me to really buy into a product personally, like if I go to the grocery store, this is kind of how my brain works, is that I look for things that could be better about the product. And if I can't find anything better about that product that I would personally need or could make it better, that's how I buy into that product.
Yeah. It's funny because like as I'm driving, I'll read billboards and I will rewrite them in my head to be more effective.
Right. And so when I got my hands on this project and I got my hands on these lashes, that's immediately where my brain took it. And so that's kind of how I like reverse engineer any product that I'm working on, is like, how could I make this better? And I don't want to call it a pessimistic point of view because it's not. It's just like, I want to find the gaps that haven't been thought of before.
And you did.
And I did. And that's just kind of how I'm looking at product development for PLA is like, I've been a working lash artist. I've been an educator. I've been a salon owner. I've been all of the things in the industry. And so like, I understand from the artist perspective and a working artist perspective up until last week, literally, that like what's missing from the lash artist perspective and what could make it better. So that's kind of the angle that I took when I was working with these lashes, is like, how could I make this better? This is a great product as it is, but there's gaps that I'm noticing, and this was one of them, and this was another one of them. And then it just kind of, compiled and dominoed from there. And then we ended up engineering and reverse engineering the product that we were already looking at, and then it ended up becoming what it is now. And I literally actually can't find something wrong with these lashes right now, and I'm obsessed.
That's impressive for you too, because you can find cracks in everything.
And I'm really having a hard time with this. And that's kind of how I knew personally that this was the final product. And of course, there's always evolution that can end up happening in the industry in any capacity. But for right now, I'm really happy with these lashes and the engineering that we put into it and the technology.
So there's one main thing. There's a lot of things in this, and I want to talk about the process behind each one of them, right?
Yeah.
But the main thing about these lashes that's different is the tape strip size. And I want to take you back to what was going on in your brain when you figured out that these should be different than they've ever been before in the industry.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that was such an exciting moment. Okay. I've been thinking about this for a long time though, because like I said, I have an education background. So I've been educating other artists on multiple techniques not entire career, for the last many years though. And when I finally got my hands on the what's the word? The
pre-production
prototype.
Pre-production sample? Yeah.
Yeah, the prototype of these lashes. I ended up looking at it from an artist perspective on like, how would I make these better to teach my students how to work with these lashes?
Okay. I didn't know that. That's
and
cool.
One of the biggest issues that I have always had personally, but also teaching my students how to fan, particularly with any tension release technique, the hardest thing to teach is where to grip on the lashes based on which length of lash you're working with.
I haven't actually thought about that, but I totally agree with you. Like that's always a challenge.
It is always a challenge.
Which is why a lot of times we start with teaching students with longer lash lengths, like 13, 14, because the shorter you get, the harder it is to work with.
Yeah. And so how I was always teaching my students on where to grip on the extension is that with a single digit length, so 8, 9, etc., you're going to pick up halfway up the extension versus when you're working with a double digit length, so like 10, 11, 12, so on, you're going to grip about 1/3 of the way up the extension.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
you needed to grip higher for a single digit length
According to its length.
because otherwise you're going to get glue on your tweezer every time that the adhesive wicks up into it if you grip at the same place, both on the single digit length and on the double digit length. Plus, you have no room to create a base if you're gripping a 1/3 of the way up an 8mm lash. Can you imagine?
Well, that's like grabbing it on the sticky strip and getting sticky strip on your tweezer.
That's exactly where you're gripping it.
So like I would like pull smaller millimeters, like 8s and 7s. I'd like pull them halfway off the strip, and then I'd either fan them on the strip or I just always fanned them on the strip.
There was a challenge for you immediately.
It really was,
because
yeah.
there could be no consistency with how you are working with them, and or you're compromising the base types that you're getting.
Or yeah, they would be like thicker bases and like really narrow little fans.
Exactly. So, and then vice versa for pinching. When you're gripping so low for pinching, or you have to grip so high for pinching in order to have any finger room under your tweezer to actually be able to manipulate those lashes in your tweezer, you're going to get really, really long, narrow stems for single digit lengths versus a double digit length.
Poof at the top.
Exactly. So what I noticed, and I can spot it from a mile away on Instagram, is I can tell what technique and what they're struggling with using using single digit lengths on the inner corner.
That's so cool.
Versus the center to the last 2/3 of the eye, because that's when you start tapering from a single digit length to a double digit length. And so I notice it on lash artists' pages all the time, and it's something that I noticed really early on in my career, trying to create professional-looking sets and really cohesive and really consistent-looking sets.
Portfolio sets.
Portfolio sets is like you need to be able to create an identical fan regardless of the length that you're working with. And it's incredibly challenging to do that with single-digit lengths compared to double-digit lengths.
So what did you do?
So I I was working with these prototypes, and I was noticing the same thing. They were great lashes. They were fanning effortlessly, and it was a great product.
They still released from the strip really easily.
So easily. But I was like, I am having a hard time creating consistent fans with this, similar to any other product that I've worked with. So Michelle came over to me after a little while of me testing these and was like, so what do you think? Like, what could we do better about them? And I was like, this is kind of crazy, but hear me out. I've never seen this done before, but I've always thought about this issue. And I was like, I wonder if it's possible if we could make single digit lengths a smaller width sticky strip compared to the double digit lengths. And she looked at me and she was like, She was just like, what? Okay, we can definitely do that. Let's try it. And so we tried it, and everybody was like, I don't know what's different about these. It was the same fiber, but it was
the same tape.
Same fiber, same tape technology, same clean release technology, but everyone was like, these are much better than the previous ones that we tested.
And we tested several different thicknesses.
Yeah.
Like I remember sitting at a table with you going, I don't know why, but these I hate. And I don't know why, but these I love.
And for anybody that is watching this, when we're doing our testing, it's all blind testing.
Yeah, nobody knows what
we're doing. So any of our testers, any in-house, it is all blind testing. Like me or Michelle will literally just be like, here's this, tell me what you think about it.
Yeah,
here's comparison between this one and this one. We're not going to tell you anything about it, but tell me which one you like better and why you like it better. And everybody across the board was like, I like this one better. And we were like, yes, it works. Yes. I just knew it would make the biggest difference. And since then, we ended up doing the Tress and Chris. I always say Tress and Cress, but the Tress and Chris boxes that we sent out for our consumers to give our feedback to. And I don't think that had this technology on them.
It didn't. So people were voting on the lashes and the way that they worked purely based on the lashes and the tape strips that they were on. And it's funny because like Michelle even came to me and was like, I think I like these better. And I was like, I'm going to put my foot down. Like, I don't want to fight with you. You can tell me no if you want to, but like, it's these. Like, we had developed so many different kinds that we had been testing for so long. And I was like, no. Like, it's right here.
And it was a full sweep. Like, everybody loved that fiber. And now people that tested that initial Tress lashes that were in the
So the
sample.
Limitless Lashes are the Tress lashes. Like, if you're wondering.
Yes,
the Limitless Lashes are the Tress lashes.
That's a huge
with
question.
Some extra technology.
Yes. And so now, though, the people that have tested that original, the Tress lashes that were in the sample pack that people voted on are now getting their hands on the Limitless Lashes, and they're like,
they're even better.
They're so much better.
Yeah.
Like, and they,
like, how do
they would
get
never
better?
know why, because this technology of modifying the width of the sticky strip, not just the stickiness of the sticky strip, to be clear.
The width of it.
The width of the sticky strip has never been modified in the industry before.
I mean, like, there's different widths on different lash trays and like with different companies, but
Sure.
not in the same box and not for the reason that we did it.
Not for the in the same box and for different lengths of lashes. And so that coming out, people are like, oh my gosh, this is so, like, I've never been able to tension release. I've never been able to tension release a 7mm fan before. And they're like, I don't know why, but all of a sudden with the Limitless Lashes, I can do that. And I'm like, every time that I hear that, I'm behind the scenes, guys. I just need you to know. And I'm like, yeah! Like, I'm like freaking out about it every time, because I'm like, that's exactly the problem that I wanted to solve with that technology and that engineering.
So if, like, I've always been somebody that comes up with ideas, just like they just like flow out of my brain very freely, and I've learned to kind of ignore a lot of them. Like, I'll like acknowledge it in passing and be like, that'd be really cool. I have zero time or resources. Goodbye. And I think of things all the time. And so if you're the kind of person that's constantly going, well, this would be cool, or something like this would be interesting, like, put your brain to work for our industry. Like, put your brain to work, like, whether it's as a salon owner or as a lash artist, and think about what would make your life easier. And if you come up with something that'll change your life and make it easier, then like, do something about it, right? It's so cool to be able to talk about what went into this, but it literally all started with a thought. Like I want to make something better. And that is just what PLA is completely committed to, is we're going, okay, we're taking products that we like to use and that we love to use, and how can we make it better for the lash artists in the industry who are working artists every single day.
Yeah. And that was one of the driving forces for why I accepted this position at PLA, and why it was my goal in this industry and was my progression. It's not a common, I've actually never heard of someone else in this industry having the role that I have.
No, I haven't either.
And I remember coming to you, what, a year or two ago?
Yeah, it was probably a year and a half ago.
And I was like, I want this, and this, and this, and this. Like, if I could just cocktail my dream job in this industry, and the majority of what I named off was product development.
Yes.
To you. And this was totally just like friend conversation. This was nothing. Yeah. Like, it was nothing at the time. I was sitting on the floor in a hotel room. Like, it was not a thing. And I was just like verbalizing this manifestation, this dream that I had. And the reason that I chose to do that, for anybody that doesn't know my story or my journey right now, I moved to Reno. I moved my family to Reno from Salem, Oregon. I closed my in-person studio and stopped taking clients. I have stopped educating for the majority right now. Like, I have really closed a huge portion of my career in the lash industry to do product development with PLA. And I've thought about it for so long, and I realize it's because that's my purpose in this industry is I'm doing exactly what you just said, is like I'm noticing that I have ideas and things in this industry that could make other artists' lives, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of lash artists' lives easier and better. And I'm doing exactly that and putting it to work. And Michelle, her brain is insane, and I couldn't respect her more. And so being able to do this for PLA and with PLA is just like, that is my dream job. That is exactly what it is. I'm doing exactly what you said. And it's not something that everybody has the ability to do right now.
No.
Of course not, like what you said.
But like Michelle started with innovation with PLA by literally she's explained this to me before, and she like uses these movements and stuff, and it's funny, but she's like, I would like sit down at my bed with nobody at it, like at my lash bed with nobody at it, and just think and just think about what would make my life better. And then she set out to build PLA around that concept. So there's other things about these lashes though that it's just
they're so good.
They're so good.
They're so good. Yeah. There's a lot of engineering that's happened.
I'm trying not to sound markety, like, right? Like that's how we talked about this in the beginning. And like, I'm trying not to sound like I'm just advertising, but it is really exciting that they're different. So there's other features that are in this box. And one of them is like, it has Michelle's generosity built right in.
Lord. She is the most generous person, guys. I have learned that since being here. She is the most generous brand owner and just person in general, but brand owner especially, that I've ever met.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like,
so there's 22 lines of lashes packed in this box.
Tell them the price.
For $19.90.
Hello.
And that's facts. That's not marketing. Like I could say all of these things that are marketing, but like that's you did the math when we were on a live the other day.
Yes, I did the math, and with the help of someone that had a calculator in front of them on live. I can't remember who it was. I wish that I could shout them out. But really quickly, without going into all of it, there's 22 strips in the box. If you break that down, say that you use an average of maybe 2 strips for a fill. This is an ultra fine diameter. This is a 0.03 lash, so keep that in mind. With a classic lash or anything, you're going to use even less. But because we're working with
lengths, you mean like a total quantity of probably 2
strips. 2 strips of lashes, give or take. I'm just averaging that out here. If you were to use an average of 2 strips per fill, that is 86 cents. It is 86 cents per strip in your box. That means that you are, just quick math, you're working with like $1.92, I believe that is, for your overhead for lashes, for what based on your profit margin.
And like I did the math a long time ago, and I worked it out like for everything that an artist would use throughout their services, right?
Yeah.
And I averaged it out to like, I rounded. So it was about $5 a fill for all prices of all the products that you're using.
Yeah.
$5 a fill for classic. It was about $8 to $9 a fill for volume. And then it was about $15 to $17 a fill for mega volume, if that's what you're choosing to do, which these lashes can do. They can do whatever you want them to. They can do, wispy, they can do hybrid, they can do angel, they can do wet sets, they can do whatever you want. But if it was mega volume, it was about $15 to $17 because of the amount of strips that you go through and the amount of lashes that you end up tossing and throwing away. And I mean, for a full set, I would probably plow through 2/3 of a box of lashes. And I did a full set with these, and I didn't remove and refill a strip on my tile even once. And I was like, I wasn't thinking of the math at that point, but I'm picturing my lash tile now that I used, and the amount of lashes I used off of it was so minimal. It looked like it was so minimal, but I had a full set in front of me.
Yeah, and part of that is the pigment. They look super, super dense and dark. part of that is the clean release technology of the strips. You're not leaving as many lashes behind. Part of that is how the lashes are packed on the strip, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but there is engineering and a very specific way that we have packed the lashes on the strip so that it is easier and it is a more efficient way for people to lose less fans. Like you're actually able to work with almost all, if not all, of the lashes on the strip. So there's less discarding happening. And you are working faster. So the other part
because it's easier.
Because it's easier. And so you're fussing with less lashes, discarding, trying to work with fans, not getting even fans. So there's efficiency happening throughout the entire process of working with these lashes. And I'm not trying to sell anybody on that. That is literally what we have had so many reviews. And I noticed that personally too, working with them. And I think it was Dennis on live. We have it saved on our PLA page on Instagram. But Dennis, he was like, I got done with my fills like 10 or 15 minutes faster.
Yeah.
And so not only are you saving money per strip with your overhead, you're saving money, but you're also saving money on working faster. So your profit margin is literally
skyrocketing.
It is so much higher.
Comparatively.
And when we're talking cents, like when we're talking such a small amount of money, every cent matters.
It does in your business.
It does in your business. And so we're working with like large amounts. So if you're saving $2, $3, $4 for every fill and you're working with 5 clients per day, you're making an extra like $20 a day. Add that up over, like that's a couple $100 a month that you're saving and that you are able to pocket and you're able to profit more in your business literally by just changing the lashes that you're working with.
That's really cool.
Which is just so funny and silly, but it matters so much.
So I grew up in a family, this is going to sound like it's coming out of left field and wait, that's going to be funny. I came from a family of all left-handed people. And so my mom, my dad, my sister, they're all left-handed. And I grew up the oddball righty in the family. And I saw how things in their life were, more difficult, like writing and how they had to like not smear ink across the page and just different things. And so when I started teaching, when I would come across a left-handed lash artist and they would tell me that their life has been so difficult and it's been, nobody knows how to teach them and that they just know and accept that doing lashes is that much harder because they're left-handed. And I was really stubborn about it. And I was like, absolutely not. It is just opposite. Your life is not harder. It doesn't have to be. So I taught myself how to fan and apply left-handed in order to be able to sit down and demonstrate for a left-handed artist.
Oh, wow.
So I would do that every time. I would actually ask at the beginning of a training, are there any lefties in here? And so I would sit down with them intentionally and they would just look at me and be like, oh my gosh, it doesn't have to be harder. And I'm like, no, what? It's the same thing. You've been lied to, right? And so that's been something with boxes changing shape and advancing and that kind of thing. That's been something that we wanted to work into this box, is we wanted it to be easier to take the lash strips out for everybody. So we have a flap that folds down on the right side. But I was very adamant that we needed to redesign the box so that it was easy for lefties as well. So we have an open left side. There's a couple of strips at the bottom that we needed to have a little bit of structural integrity to that box.
Yeah.
And so they're a little bit more in there, but we have most of the entire left side open so that whether the package literally almost lays flat. You can see it all the way, the lashes all the way across. And that way you get to take them out of the box and have equal ease no matter if you're a right-handed person or a left-handed person. And I just love that. I just think it's kind and inclusive and it's a fun feature that makes me happy.
Yeah.
I know that there's other boxes out there that can accommodate the same thing. We wanted to make sure that we were able to do that too. And so that's not saying it's the most brand new thing in the world. I just love that about it.
And PLA is one of the most inclusive brands.
Really?
It's really cool. I really dig it.
Okay. So then we have one more feature that I really wanted to make sure that we touch on, that you really wanted to make sure that we touch on. And that's how the lashes are actually packed on the strip, right?
Yeah. So as I had mentioned previously, there's different ways of packing lashes onto a strip. And for us with the Limitless collection, we had a few things, excuse me, we had a few things that we really were key points that we wanted to focus on. It was ease of pulling off of the strip. We wanted to make sure that we didn't leave any lashes behind. We wanted to have consistent fans and consistent spreadability.
I love that word.
And we wanted to have each lash be able to, how do I say that? We wanted to have each lash consistency. That's the word that I want to say. We wanted consistency across the entire strip. So in order to do that without compromising the amount of lashes that we put on the strip, making sure that the techniques are across the board able to work with these lashes regardless of the technique that you're working with. And you can have consistent looking fans, which is the spreadability part. We kept in mind how we needed to pack the lashes on the strip. And I wrote this down because I wanted to make sure that I get it all right. And one of the biggest questions, I'm going to answer a big question that a lot of people have here, is the difference between the Limitless lashes and our Super Mink and our Mega Mink lashes. Yeah. And this is one of the largest differences with them, among a few other things, but this is one of the biggest things. So the Limitless lashes are single packed and high density on the lash strip, which is how it's packed on the strip. Our Super Mink is, that's okay.
Our Super Mink.
Our Super Mink are double packed and high density. And then our Mega Mink are single stacked and medium density. So this means that there's a different packing that's happening on the strip. So techniques are going to work better with different lashes. Right? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like you've noticed that. Like when you're working with certain lashes and they're packed so densely on the strip that when you pull them off, they're almost boxy at the base and have like no mobility because unless you're a pincher, you can't use a different technique with that style of lash and packing
right, you
on
would
the
do
strip.
on the strip with that one.
You
like
would
you
have
would pick
to.
it up, put it back down, fan it open, pick it up again.
So in order to make sure that we have that versatility with these lashes, we had to keep the way that the lashes were packed on the strip in mind. And we needed it to be different than anything that we have in-house for any of our other products and anything that we've ever worked with before. We wanted it to be different. So we kept that in mind. And that was a really cool thing that I thought was worth mentioning and worth talking about.
Yeah, and it's part of the reason that you might feel like you get more fans out of each strip.
Yes.
In addition to the fact that you don't leave any lashes behind. Oh my gosh, we didn't talk about the tweezers. We're going to have to do another episode.
Girl, we love the tweezers. That was a whole different development. Yes. And that was incredible.
We'll do a tweezer technology episode probably.
Yeah,
then.
we have to. Yeah.
Okay.
This entire line is really impressive, actually.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed by it.
It's so funny. I already have people asking when we're expanding it.
Really?
Like, so compared to the day that we're filming this podcast, we launched 3 days ago?
Yes.
Yep. We launched 3 days ago and I have people that are shipping them out and gifting them to other lash artists.
That was me.
I have people who somebody just told me this morning that she's going to get a gift basket and she's going to take Limitless Lashes to all of her local lash artists because they're not necessarily on Instagram, so they don't know that they exist.
Whoa. That's what I did when I was when I got the initial Tress sample lashes. I cut my strips in half with a X-Acto knife. And when I was working on my clients that were lash artists, I would literally give them a half of one of the strips that I wouldn't use. Because I didn't, as a lash artist, I don't work with 16, 15, really, really long lengths personally. So I gifted them. I was like, just take half of one of my strips. They're like my babies. They're precious, but just take half because I know that you're going to fall in love with them. And I need you to just try them. Yeah. And they're all sold. They were like, I'm buying one of these immediately.
I haven't met a lash artist yet that has said, they're not my favorite. Like every single person has been like, I think I have to change my entire inventory.
That was me. I literally told Michelle when we were making these, I was like, Michelle, if we do not launch with these lashes, I will cry crocodile tears. Like we have to. These are it. These are it. These are it. These are it. And that's what you did too. You were like, nope, these are the ones.
But like for everybody who's wondering about if you want to come, like Michelle loves encouraging people to, if they want to come out with their lash line and they're passionate about business and whatever, she like mentors people kind of and like helps them. So that's a really cool attribute of Michelle and PLA. But shoot, I was going somewhere with that. There's a bird outside that keeps trying to land on the window and I got really distracted. Like it's come back like 3 or 4 times. Okay.
Well, PLA white labels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I was talking about people asking to expand. And then, why are you here?
You did do that.
Did you hear it?
I heard it.
I always say that squirrels distract me, but this time it's a bird. Go away, buddy. I love this for us.
People were wanting to expand, asking you to expand when we were expanding these.
Like if you're interested in coming out with your own lash brand or your own line of lashes or tweezers or adhesives or whatever, manufacturers have made it really easy to just go, oh, well, I'll put my label on that. And like people think that that's the process. And that's the process for some people. But these lashes took almost a year to develop fully. They took a lot of thought. They took a lot of insight. They took a lot of experience. And so like, don't rush it. Like
we also
it's worth it to come out with something great or create something great and take your time to do it.
Yeah, and we went rounds and rounds of modifications and testing. Like it is not a small process to produce any product line.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, like it can be. You can.
You can.
Mm-hmm. But
we did not.
It's worth it not to. Yeah.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're going to wrap up there. The bird won't go away. And I'm worried about the next episode. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me. I know that we're going to sit down and do this again. We'll talk about tweezers. We'll talk about global compliance. Actually, the next episode I want to do with you is about safety in the lash industry and like product safety and ingredients and stuff. So just get your brain working on that to have a really good conversation about it. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much, guys, for being here with us. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.